Hey everyone, I'm Taylor Lisney of Born Imageworks. I am joined today by Devin Kramer.
Hey guys.
And Miles Goldman.
What's going on?
And we're all sitting here going over the Sketchbook announcement video that was produced last week. And here's kind of what it looks like if you haven't seen it. Sketchbook is our video series for independent musicians and performing artists where we kind of do some crazy things and we work closely with them to figure out what sort of works best and come up with a cool video.
Yeah. Also, we know they're on a budget, and Sketchbook speaks specifically to our lower budget clients.
Right. Exactly. So as you can see here, this motion graphic is split up between two main parts, and the first one is this part where we wanted to describe exactly what Sketchbook is with a few little phrases, and then it glitches out and we jump to this part where the word Sketchbook is spelled out, and we get to the final logo. So we're going to walk through here, and it's not actually a full formal tutorial or anything, but kind of more of a discussion about how this thing was put together. And right here, I'm in After Effects, which was used to put this whole thing together. And I just wanted to kind of walk through how this thing was produced.
Do we want to talk a little about the sort of the idea behind the Sketchbook is thing? Or?
Yeah, actually, and Miles actually came up with this approach. So if you wanna talk more to that.
Well, we were all kind of discussing, how to explain what the Sketchbook initiative, the Sketchbook series at Born is, and we were kind of defining it through, what Sketchbook is, what it isn't, and I thought that was, as we sort of developed our idea, I think the concept of Sketchbook is that it's open to, the idea gets refined along with whoever we're working with. Mm-hmm. So it's sort of this like finding what the Sketchbook series means to us and to other people, and
sure.
So that's sort of the idea I think behind,
This kind of helped
Sketchbook
us define it. Yeah, we define it for ourselves,
right?
As well as everyone else. Yeah,
it helped us out a lot. The cool thing about Sketchbook is that it's kind of a return to form. I think is the word that we've been using.
Mm-hmm.
Like the entire process. Like this is how we learned to start making films. Each one of us, had experience in making music videos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Not saying that it's an easy thing to do, but it's something that we've done quite a bit of, and we think that it's something fun
sort of back
do.
to that marathon of like, how much can I, how hard can I work over like a 2 to 3 day period to get
exactly
this,
right,
get the best product.
Yeah.
Right. So we use this same approach actually in creating the final logo for Sketchbook, and we also kind of use this approach for creating this motion graphic. And I guess I don't know when the graph paper, Devin, I think you brought up the graph paper like immediately when we started talking about putting together this video. And it kind of made sense, like we wanted this cool sloppy effect of a bunch of splatters and the coffee rings, and the graph paper kind of went along with it, which is we're normally coming up with we have this structure of figuring out what the concept is and how this is going to work, and with this we got to be more free form with it, and the graph paper is kind of that initial phase. It kind of helps to show that sort of those rougher edges. So
the sketching that happens in the margin of the notebook paper,
Right, exactly.
I like the poetry behind it too. It's like, here's this very organized, kind of fluid and very true design element in the sketch paper, but that's the foundation upon which Sketchbook is based, but Sketchbook is something completely and well, not completely, but free form.
Yeah.
It's something that
much more free form than what we would normally do.
You can color outside the lines, sort of, so to speak.
Yeah, definitely. So this is one of the comps, and basically how this video is set up is it's made up of a group of different compositions or comps, and basically from there we then render out this footage and use it in a nonlinear editing program like we would with footage that we shoot on set. So in this case, what's really going on in the background is all of those components and all of these pieces of sketch paper are actually in the background, and whatever is displayed here is, what gets rendered out and what the viewer sees. What's really going on in the background is all these different components are moving. You can see here these bounding boxes are around the actual text that moves on screen. And so, it was kind of it was a simple approach that sort of made sense. Having the sketch paper move and having Sketchbook move in with that graph paper. So it was kind of an interesting concept. We also knew that we kind of wanted this. We wanted the word Sketchbook to be written out. I think that made perfect sense, especially looking at this font. Yeah. It's like it kind of had to be that way. And with something like this, I use an effect called Write On, and that you can see the little brush cursor actually moves along and draws out whatever we have there. That's not to say that the brush is actually drawing this. It's actually just revealing what's already there. So when I imported in this logo, I split it up, and you can see from my layers here.
Yeah, this blew my mind when I first saw your system here.
Yeah, it's really crazy. I mean, it's split up into separate letters and then pieces of letters. So here I have just the K stem, and this yellow piece here makes a mask around that. And there you can see just that stem is revealed, and then the rest of the K is revealed on a separate layer, which is it's just a weird little technique that you don't want an entire letter to be revealed at once. So I wanted the K to actually be drawn in. So the stem comes in first, and then the K comes in. But anything that doesn't come in at the same time needs to be a separate component. So on the E, I have the stem, the top bar, the middle bar, and the bottom bar. And yeah, just animated from there, letter by letter. I left the O's out because I knew we would have the coffee rings. And yeah, this is what it looks like with the splatters and everything in place. Looks pretty cool. A lot of cool stuff going on. Let's see.
What kind of time did it take you? Like, how much time did it take you to do just that, the sketch, writing it out?
Do like the writing it out thing?
Excellent question, Devin.
Yeah, I guess this would probably. I mean, this was it was a good 2-3 hours to really chop it up. It all starts in Photoshop, of course, where all of these components are already written out, but then you need to divide them up so that they can be revealed at the right time. And so, it's a lot of file preparation before you even bring it into After Effects. So, all in all, in a way, as the logo was being designed, I was already planning for it to be a motion graphic.
And that was kind of like, that was the concept from the start, that we were never just designing a logo so much as we were designing sort of like the title slide for future Sketchbook projects that would, the animated graphic at the beginning of videos.
Yeah, exactly. And here you can see, I mean, it's kind of put together, but then if you really want to go crazy, which we did, you can then take that and then make it a 3D layer and, move.
Can you zoom out a little further? Because I love, when you showed me this, it blew my mind, the way that plane works there.
So yeah, this is, as you can see, you can see the perspective here. And what that's actually doing is it's taking that 2D plane of the title being written out and rotating it in 3D space. And then I have what's called a virtual camera here. And I just moved it around like Devin, our production lead, would do.
I've been replaced by a machine.
That's right. That's right. And this has like a depth of field built in, so we get nice crisp edges where the camera's focusing, and then everything else is kind of out of focus. then it's just a bunch of keyframes that then flip it around and have it revealed from there. You know, and like I said, like each one of these comps is rendered out separately, so the finished piece that you see is not, you know, it's not an entire piece that we just render out and then put online. It's actually pieces and components that we then bring into an editor and edit it just like we would with a regular video.
Well, that was another thing that I was really interested to hear, that sort of the conceptualization of how it works is you make all these individual pieces of animation, and then you sort of treat them like different pieces of footage.
Yeah.
And then you sort of, you put them all into a separate program where you edit the
Yeah,
of it.
yeah, exactly. I mean, all of these, you know, they're planned out. A lot of them, this one, for instance, just kind of hangs on that last frame. There you can see a little bit of keyframing here to let the ink drip down.
Every time for the first few times I watched this, I was noticing a new detail every time.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on, but it all really came down to how the file was set up initially in Photoshop, and then, you know, you kind of have to think backwards, because as you're designing it, you need to think about, you know, what things are going to move, what things are already going to be in place. So I knew I didn't have to split up the coffee rings because they were already going to be on screen. But if I wanted this splatter to drop down properly, that needs to be a separate component. So it's a lot of, you know, planning ahead of time, even if you don't know exactly what that finished animation is going to look like.
How many individual tracks is this entire
All of these
thing?
layers?
Yeah.
You know, it's hard to say.
I love that. Like, you can't even, like, count it.
It's really hard to say because for a lot of this, you know, anytime that I have this icon appears, it means that I can actually click into that and see the rest of the content.
Yeah.
So we have
A lot.
yeah. it's like
I need exact numbers.
it's like comps seated on top of comps
Yeah.
that keep going down at its most base level. You know, we have 18 there and another 10 there and another 5 or 6 there. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff, no doubt about it. It's definitely a lot, but it made the impact that we wanted it to make, and
Definitely.
you know, it was conceptual. It was a cool thing. I was just saying how, you know, using After Effects is more about solving problems and less about, you know, just making something cool. Ultimately, you'll make something cool, but first things first, you know, it's not like, this is not the kind of thing where you take a class and then you know how to do. You take a class to learn the basics of how this thing works, and then you utilize that logic to make it whatever you want it to be. So the possibilities are kind of endless. And, you know, the more that I have worked on this, the better I got at planning ahead of time and sort of knowing how the thing was going to end up and how to put it all together. So we did this over the course of a few days, and it worked out really well. I'm really happy with it.
Yeah, I mean, I know it was a lot of man hours on your part.
Yeah.
And like, you know, starting a new business, I'm definitely always thinking about like where man hours are going. And this is definitely something where it was like, wow.
Yeah, it's time well spent.
That's where they went.
Yeah.
It's a cool thing. I mean, it's also strange to work with motion graphics without audio. Because most of the time when you're working in After Effects, you don't have audio to work off of. So a lot of times you can't do a lot of planning for the timing of everything until you get into the editing phase. And something that looks really cool looks like 80 times cooler when there's music involved.
That's usually true.
So the whole time you're just like, well, if it looks cool in silence, it's probably going to look real cool with music. And it does.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, don't undersell yourself here. It's clear that like having done this a lot, you have a sense of like how that movie
what
is
works
going to pan out and like how keyframing is going to result in like an experience.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's a lot of fun. This was like one of my favorite things to do so far. It was a lot of fun. I love the logo, and I think we have made the impact that we wanted to with this thing.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I guess that's it. There's a little discussion on how this thing was put together. In the future, I'd like to do more, you know, really in-depth stuff for people out there that are either just getting into motion graphics or have been in it for a while and want to learn a few tricks and you know, for now, we kind of want to just have this discussion and show a little bit of what the concept was and how it all came together. And we look forward to doing a bunch more of these.
Yeah, definitely.
So, all right, guys, is that it? Is there anything else?
Nah, I believe so. I believe that's it. Thanks everybody for listening.
Cool. All right. Thanks again. This is Taylor Lisney.
Devin Kramer.
Miles Goldman.
For Born Imageworks, and we will see you next time. Thanks.